Hello everyone, I'm Linda, I'm a boomer, and this is my therapy, thus Boomer Therapy. I hopefully will be able not only to inform you a little bit, but also to entertain you a little bit. So, this week, I am going to look at spirit animals and serial killers. Oh, and happy Flag Day on June 14th. Well, you ready? Let's get going. I'm going to start out by explaining exactly what a spirit animal is. Spirit animal and or totem have been around for a long time. They're very important to the Native American cultures, and it's so much a part of their life and who they are, and will be respected for that. Spirit animals or totems are like pilots, and they are there to help you on your journey through life. It relates to you with a certain uniqueness, and it manifests itself to you in all different ways and helps you to overcome the challenges of your life. There are thousands of spirit animals, each with its own set of qualities. They can range from reptiles or domesticated animals or wild animals, birds, even insects. So, how do you recognize your spirit animal? Well, ask yourself a couple questions. First off, how do I feel towards a certain animal? Am I drawn towards a particular animal? Do you often see a particular animal in your dreams or animal shows like on television? Does that animal intrigue you when you see it? Or do you tend to get cards from your friends and family that tend to have that animal on it? When you go to the zoo, what animal is the first animal you really like to see? What's on the top of your list? My spirit animal is, I have two of them. My first one is the flamingo. I love flamingos. I love their gracefulness, I love their long legs and their long necks and their color, that pink and sometimes orangish color. When I look at a flamingo, it makes me really smile, and also I feel kind of all warm and fuzzy inside, and it just makes me feel good and confident. My husband, in fact, I have so many flamingos inside and outside of the house that my husband has told my sons, no more flamingos for your mother. I hope they don't listen. Flamingos are there to remind me to get in touch with my emotions. I'm a little emotional. They also help me to work things out, process my feelings. I love to stare at them and kind of think to myself. And not only are they helping me process things in my brain, another thing that helps me is this YouTube channel itself. So my flamingos get in touch with me, and I hopefully can get in touch with you. You can have more than one spirit animal. Yorkies are also my support animal. Right, Gracie? Right, Mom? That's Gracie. They're also zodiac animals. So my sign is a Cancer. So my animal is a rabbit, which I think rabbits are awesome anyway. You can find even more information about your spirit animal at themindfool.com. I'll put the link in the comments down below so that you could go to that website and check it out. It has all the lists of different animals, what they do. They have questionnaires, so to help you find your own spirit animal. Well, my flamingos behind me, they speak to me. My flamingos are telling me it's time for a boomer brain buster. Today, it's on the flag. Since June the 14th is Flag Day, I thought, you know, it would be a good time to quiz you on the flag. So, good luck. Okay, are you ready to see how well you know the U.S. flag? Number 1, by memory, don't look, how many red stripes are on the U.S. flag? Is it A, 13, B, 8, C, 7, or D, 6? If you said C7, you're absolutely correct. In fact, there is a lot of symbolism in our flag. The stripes, of course, mean the original 13 colonies. There are 13 stripes. The stars, which there's 50, represent the 50 states. Now, the symbolism of the colors. Red stripes symbolize hardiness and valor. White stripes symbolize purity and innocence. Blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. In fact, a little story. On the first day of school, I used to like to throw some questions out to my students, and I taught American history, and they were juniors. I asked the kids, how many stripes are on the flag, and what do they represent? And this guy's hand shot up, and I called on him, and he said, there's 13 stripes, and it represents the 13 miles across Rhode Island. And I knew then I had a long way to go with this class. But anyway, not only did he get the 13 stripes as 13 miles across Rhode Island wrong, but Rhode Island is actually 37 miles wide and 48 miles long. So he wasn't even close. Had my work cut out for me. Okay, number 2. Who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner? Was it A, Thomas Jefferson, B, Andrew Jackson, C, Francis Scott Key, or D, Paul McCartney? I hope you said C, Francis Scott Key, and hopefully you did not say Paul McCartney. Anyway, Francis Scott Key was an American lawyer, and he also was an amateur writer. He was from the state of Maryland. He was inspired by what he's going to see at Fort McHenry, and he is going to write our national anthem. So the short story, Francis Scott Key and a fellow lawyer by the name of John S. Skinner, who at that time was a U.S. agent for prisoners of war. They were going to negotiate the release of a prisoner of war that the British had taken. His name was Dr. Beans. He was a civilian. He was a non-combatant, and he was taken prisoner after the British had burned down Washington, D.C. So Key and Skinner were successful in the release of Dr. Beans, but there was a bombardment of Fort Henry going on by the British, so Key and his lawyer friend had to tie their boat to a British ship. They were not released, they were under guard, because the British were so afraid that they would give away any kind of plans that they may have overheard. Anyway, Francis Scott Key was probably somewhere between 6 and 8 miles from Fort McHenry. So the next day, September 14th, 1814, when Key woke up, he looked out on the bay and he was totally floored. He saw the 15-star, 15-stripe flag. It was still flying. So he was so moved. He believed that God must have intervened. He just felt so patriotic that he wrote down the lyrics to a well-known song that he knew. And of course, the rest is history. But during that period, they didn't have copyright infringement laws. And so a lot of lyricists and poets would put their words to songs songs that were already out there that they knew. And that's what Francis Scott Key did. I got to see that flag that flew over Fort McHenry. It's in the Smithsonian. It's still pretty tattered. They have it protected because, it's old and it tends to kind of fall apart. It's very, very fragile. Very cool. Huge flag. Holy cow. It's just huge. As you know, the Star-Spangled Banner is extremely hard to sing because of the notes and things like that. And when you're a little kid, and I don't know about you, but most kids have a really hard time understanding what the lyrics are. So I don't know if you had, I know I had, sang the song wrong for many years. It's a tough song to sing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
Okay, number 3. How was the American flag used before the War of 1812? Was it A, to identify ships and forts? B, there was no flag before the War of 1812? C, as a threat of war to other countries? Or D, to celebrate holidays? If you said to identify ships and forts, you are absolutely correct. Before the War of 1812, the flag was used rarely for patriotism. Mostly it was to identify U.S. ships and U.S. forts. After the war and after the writing of the Star-Spangled Banner by Francis Scott Key, it was often displayed as a symbol of patriotism because a lot of people at that time believed that we beat the British twice. Okay, number 3. When are new stars added to the flag? A, on the 1st of January, following the admission of new states. B, upon the orders of Congress. C, within 90 days after admission of state. Or D, on the 4th of July, following the admission of a new state. Did you get D? You're absolutely correct. And you remember what the 50th star, the 50th state was? Hawaii, 1959. And you never know, there could be a 51, could be a 52. Who knows how many stars in the future. Number 5, this is the last one. How many American flags are on the moon? Is it A1, B2, C5, or D6? If you said D6, you are correctamundo. And in fact, those 6 flags, some of them have been there for 40 plus years. The flags have been exposed to the moon's environment, which alternates from 14 days of searing sunlight and 100-degree heat, and then 14 days of cold, which is negative 150 Celsius and darkness. Even more damaging to the flags is the ultraviolet radiation from pure, unfiltered sunlight.
Hey, do you put your flag up on Flag Day? I hope so. Since we're talking about spirit animals, I'm going to be a little going out on a limb here because spirit animals could also be people. And I found an article about this woman and her late husband that have serial killers for spirit animals.
You serious, Clark?
So this couple from Yonkers, New York, her name is Barbara Dickenstein, and her husband Richie were actually seducing serial killers through letters for more than 20 years. This couple pretended to be whatever turned that serial killer on. So what the age? They're writing serial killers like John Wayne Gacy. Remember, he was known as the killer clown because he would work part-time at children's events dressed up like a clown, and he also liked to paint clowns. Jeffrey Dahmer, and you remember him, he was that cannibal and necrophiliac. He killed 16 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. Son of Sam Berkowitz, who terrified New Yorkers in 1976 and 1977. He was the first killer that Dick Steen started to write. Another one, Charles Manson. Another is Robert John Bardo. I don't know if you remember who he was. He was the one that stalked and shot an actress named Rebecca Schaefer in 1998. She was the star of My Sister Sam. And that's just to name a few. They had 100+ killers that they were writing. So Barbara and Richie Dick Steen ended up with over 30,000 letters, audio tapes, and their artwork. They kept it in a vault, they kept it stored away. These are the worst of the worst. Richie Dick Steen, even though he was heterosexual, would write Gacy, Dahmer, and other gay murderers. He would be whatever they wanted him to be, to entice them to write him back. Both would do anything that sounded delicious to these killers. These serial killers became very close to Richie, and they really never knew who he was and what he was doing. Richie Dick Steen died in 2018, and Barbara retired from writing the killers. Holy cow, so crazy. If you want to read the article for more information and see some of these letters, I'll put the website also down in the comments below. And if you want to hear more about this collection, it's going to be a basis of a new podcast called Killer's Vault. It'll be hosted by Law and Order's actress Elisabeth Rohm, beginning June 28th. So you'll have to tune that in. I will also leave you the information in the comments. So on that note, I'm going to sign off. Please subscribe and ring the bell so you will be notified of my next episode. Remember to learn something every day so your brain gets a workout, doesn't go to mush. Take care of yourself and look into getting a spirit animal. Peace out. Bye.
Down, Gracie, down.